Hello everybody, today I'll be giving you a presentation on a high school research experience and the two best ways to acquire it. So let's move into today's presentation. First off, why is it important? Well, as a college admissions process further continues to more heavily rely on a well-mastered extracurricular display on your application, it is becoming increasingly more important to ensure that you can effectively develop yourself as an academic student while simultaneously proving your intellect and character to those admissions officers. What is one of the very best ways to do so? Well, acquiring research experience throughout the course of your high school career will achieve all of the above and more. But the thing is, these opportunities won't be delivered to your doorstep, and actually receiving research roles with an esteemed university professor or acceptance into a prestigious program can be quite difficult. Nonetheless, that does not mean that it is impossible, as hard work and proven dedication, as many people say, is actually half the battle. Throughout this presentation, we will be examining the different opportunities that are available to you and what is required to take full advantage of them. There are two main sections of research experience that can be divided into self-initiated opportunities, which I'll expand on in just a second, as well as competitive programs that require a formal application. So let's dive into the first part of today's presentation. One of the very best ways to obtain research experience is to simply take initiative and reach out to a local college or university professor. Under their watch, you'll perform various experiments and conduct research to expand your knowledge and possibly write a formal research paper at the end of your studies. While this method isn't always clearly displayed on each university's website, it isn't too difficult to inquire about either. The first step is to access the different fields of study that are listed in the university's directory. It is essential that you greatly consider each and every option to ensure that you choose an area in which you are actually interested. Once you have chosen the field of study that you would like to expand your knowledge in, the next step is to get in touch with that major's lead professor. Leaving a great first impression through a well-written email is vital to increasing your chances at receiving a desirable response from the professor himself. Let's dive deeper into the specific requirements of this email and what you should be telling the professor. The most important thing to remember here is the fact that you must convey why you want this research opportunity. Keep in mind there may be several other students that are considering this option as well, and the professor may be unable to accept that many students. Apart from the general formalities, you must state your specific interest in the topic and why you believe this research opportunity is one of the first steps involved in achieving your long-term goals. For example, if inquiring about a research opportunity in economic policy, you could potentially highlight your past experience with policy debate or your extensive love for reading articles regarding new policy findings. Alright, let's move into the smaller but still very important formalities of the email. Firstly, try your best to have a concise but informative subject line so the professor doesn't immediately disregard your email as spam or junk. Next, always make sure to address the professor with the abbreviation Doctor, and remain formal throughout your entire email. One of the worst mistakes you can make is sending the message that you are informal or uncommitted through the use of slang, word abbreviations, or emoticons. Finally, be sure to keep your email as concise as it can possibly be. Remember, professors are very busy and do not always have the time to read page-long essays that are all about one student. Overall, those are the key points that are must-haves when writing such an email. If you need an example to model your thoughts after, be sure to pause the video here and read the information on the left of the slide. After all of this is complete, all you have to do is wait and hope for a great response. Alright, now let's move on to the second most common way to obtain research experience, which is applying to competitive programs that are specifically dedicated to providing research opportunities to high school students aspiring to extend their knowledge in a certain field. Upon acceptance into such a program, you will engage in rigorous research that will eventually be published or presented in an official group setting among other high-achieving peers. Today, we will be specifically focusing on the UCSB Research Mentorship Program, as its application is very similar to that of other prestigious programs. Keep in mind, all of these programs have websites that are fairly easy to navigate, and most, if not all, ask for the exact same materials from their applicants. Before we move into the core application, however, I would first like to go over some of the logistics of the program and how it would look in a normal year. Firstly, keep in mind that such programs are extremely competitive and normally boast between a 7 to 15% acceptance rate, meaning that you shouldn't feel discouraged in case you do end up getting rejected. There are several alternatives available, like the self-initiated opportunities I talked about just a couple minutes ago. To even be eligible to apply to these, you must have a 3.8 weighted GPA and be a high school student in the 10th or 11th grade. While outstanding 9th graders are accepted on a case-by-case basis, this is extremely rare. This is a 6-week-long research internship that is usually held on the UCSB campus and has a $75 application fee in addition to the $4,500 tuition fee involved with the program. Financial aid is also an option for those who are able to provide the proper documentation. After you have reviewed the above items with your family and are sure that such a program is the right fit for you, the next and final step is to apply. There are 3 main parts of the application, which can be divided into the online application, supplemental application, and scholarship application, which is optional. The online application, which is pretty much the core of the entire application, calls for 5 separate things that are meant to serve as a holistic representation of your academic ability. These include your high school transcript, personal statement, which is limited to 500 words, a writing sample such as a science report or English essay of up to 3 pages, the contact information of at least one recommender from your high school, and your AP scores if you do have them. The second part of the application is referred to as the supplemental application. This will pretty much be a form that the officers send you after you have applied, which is a series of questions for you to answer. This is simply so that the admissions officers can get to know you better as a person. And finally, the third part is the scholarship application. As I mentioned before, the scholarship application is optional and not required. If you do choose to apply for a scholarship, there are 3 main parts that are necessary to do so. Firstly is a pre-college scholarship application. Secondly, we have the federal tax returns for that year, and obviously you would need to ask this of your parents. And finally, you would need to ask once again from your parents their W-2 forms if they are applicable. And that is pretty much this entire presentation as a whole. Remember, if you do have any questions or anything of the sort, right, all you need to do is, first of all, rewatch the video. And if you still need more information, simply go to summer.ucsb.edu for more information on such competitive programs, more specifically UCSB's program. And that will pretty much conclude today's presentation. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you all have a great day. In case you do have any specific questions for me, you can find me at aryav.bajoria on Instagram or through email at aryavbajoria@gmail.com. Once again, thank you, and I hope you have a great day.